That night, Bo left a carving by her bedside. It was a coyote, rough, awkward, barely shaped, but it had eyes and it was watching something. He didn't wait for thanks. Didn't expect any. In the morning, she placed it gently on the mantel, beside the picture of his mother. He watched her do it and felt something in his chest that wasn't quite hope, but was next of kin. The town got meaner after that. Marabelle served him quieter. Kids stopped waving when he rode through. One day someone painted "Squawkeep" on his barn door in red. He scrubbed it off with lye, hands bleeding before the stain disappeared. Elu watched him, arms folded across her chest. That night she made stew, rich, spiced, earthy. He tasted wild garlic and something sweeter. He didn't speak, just ate. And she sat across from him, her eyes gentle but unreadable. Still no words. Then she vanished. He woke to silence deeper than usual, the kind that draped the world like a burial shroud. Her cot was empty. The herbs gone. The coyote gone too. He searched the barn, the pasture, rode out to the old riverbed. Nothing. Days passed. The horses grew restless. He stopped shaving. Flies took over the stew pot. He found the coyote carving half buried in the sand, near the edge of the river where the reeds grew thick. It was face down. He fell to his knees, carving in hand. The wind moved past him without pause as if he'd disappeared too. When she returned, the sky was bruised with thunder and the rain smelt like forgiveness. She stepped into the cabin soaked through, hair dripping, shoulders squared. He looked up from where he sat, carving knife in hand, working a piece of oak into nothing. "My name is Elu," she said. The voice was low, melodic. Her accent curved around each word like it had to coax them out. He stared stunned. "It means beautiful. I didn't leave because I was afraid," she added. "I left because I didn't know if you'd ever ask who I was." His voice came out ragged. "I'm sorry." "I know." She stepped closer. The fire crackled behind her. She smelled of wet sage and river water. He stood. "I never wanted to own you." "You didn't," she said. "That's why I came back." And he, this man who hadn't cried since his father's boots hit the ground for the last time, felt his throat close. Felt something break in him that needed breaking. He reached for her hand. Didn't take it. Just hovered, waiting. She placed hers over his. And there, between them, nothing changed, but everything did. That winter they worked the ranch side by side. She taught him how to trap rabbits without breaking bone, how to listen to trees when storms were near. He taught her how to shoe a horse without losing fingers. They still barely spoke, but they listened. When Deputy Shaw came back, it was with whiskey on his breath and a pistol on his hip. "You think this is over?" he slurred, swaying in the saddle. "You think people forget?" Bo stepped forward. Elu stayed on the porch, arms crossed. "You don't scare me, Shaw. You should be scared. She's a curse. You're a damn fool." Shaw raised the pistol. Bo didn't move. "She stays," Bo said. "And you don't." There was a long silence. Rain started falling, slow, cold, like the sky itself was waiting to decide something. Shaw lowered the pistol, spit in the dirt, and rode off. The next morning the desert bloomed. Wildflowers sprouted between the dry rocks. Bees returned to the lavender shrubs. For the first time in months, the horses galloped for no reason at all. That night Elu sang. It wasn't for him. It was for the fire. For the past. For herself. He listened like a man who'd finally found water after walking too long with cracked lips. Old Sutter came by weeks later, blind as ever but full of stories. Sat on the porch, cane tapping. "They say the sky don't cry here," he said, voice gravel soft. "But I know it did. The day you met her. The day she came back." He grinned. "You ask me what love is, Carter?" Bo looked out toward the pasture, where Elu was laughing as the colt chased her scarf in the wind. "I reckon I know now," he whispered. And somewhere the wind carried the sound of her song, soft as memory, strong as the land. The morning the wind changed, Bo Carter rode into town with dust in his hair and a hole in his boot sole that whispered with every step. The air smelled of salt pork, coal smoke, and the thick silence of men who had long run out of things worth saying. He tied his horse outside Marabelle's tavern and walked past the stairs like a man dragging chains, slow, steady, and unbothered. Inside, the tavern light hung heavy, muted gold filtering through stained curtains. Marabelle looked up from behind the bar, eyes narrowing on him. "You look like hell, Carter," she said. "And hell's got more company than you." He only grunted, taking a seat in the corner, where shadows draped across him like a worn-out coat. He wasn't here for whiskey. He never drank in the morning. He was here because the silence of his ranch had grown too loud again. There were things silence said when you lived with it too long, like how he'd never hear his mother's humming again, or how even the horses didn't neigh for him the way they used to. He watched people talk, laugh, touch, things he no longer did. That's when she came in. She was small, with a braided river of black hair and skin the color of earth right before rain. Her dress was plain muslin, torn at the hem, and her eyes, God, her eyes, looked like they'd seen fire and survived it. The trader behind her barked something in Cheyenne and shoved her forward. "She don't speak English," the trader said, breath sour with ale. "Pretty though. Strong. Used to the land. $2, she's yours." Nobody laughed. Nobody gasped either. This was Wyoming, 1886. Money made things true. Bo looked at her and saw not a woman, not a purchase, but something he couldn't name. Maybe loneliness recognizing itself. Maybe mercy dressed in skin and silence. The tavern quieted as coins clinked on wood. "Come with me," Bo said softly. She didn't answer. Didn't flinch. Just stepped toward him like she'd been waiting for the words her whole life. Outside, the sky watched like an old god. He helped her onto his horse and didn't speak again until they'd reached the ranch. It was a humble sprawl of dirt and wooden rails, stitched together with rope and memory. The wind carried no scent but dust, and the windmill turned like a tired prayer. Bo dismounted first. She slid down, landed barefoot, and looked around like someone returned to a place from a dream. Still silent. He showed her the cabin. A single room, 2 cots, a stove, a picture of his mother no one remembered but him. He pointed to the smaller cot. She nodded. That was it. No questions. No smiles. She moved like water, fluid and quiet. That night she sat by the fire while he fixed tack. The flames danced on her face, flickering light into her dark eyes. He offered her beans. She accepted with a nod. Ate slow, like every bite might disappear if hurried. The silence between them wasn't empty. It was waiting. 3 days passed. She never spoke. But she started mending things. His torn shirts, the crooked drawer in the kitchen, a broken hinge on the barn door. She whittled a comb out of scrap wood and braided her hair with slow, practiced hands. She gathered herbs in the early morning and dried them on the windowsill. He watched. Sometimes she caught him watching and neither of them looked away. By the 7th day the town noticed. Deputy Redshaw rode out with his spurs clinking louder than needed. He dismounted with a swagger he hadn't earned in years. Elu, he still didn't know her name, not then, stood behind the porch rail like a statue carved by God's quieter hand. Shaw spat near Bo's boot. "That her?" Bo wiped sweat from his brow with the back of his hand. "She stays with me." "Right. Bought her off that weasel, didn't you?" Bo said nothing. "She's not yours, Carter. And everyone in town's got a mouthful to say about it." Bo looked past him toward the pasture. "Let him talk." Shaw grinned, but there was no humor in it. "You think a savage is gonna fix what's broken in you?" Bo's eyes met his. "Don't need fixin'. Just peace." Shaw's bootsteps thudded hard as he mounted again. "You're gonna find peace gets real expensive round here." When the dust cleared, Elu was already inside.